Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're basically drawing a map to a hidden treasure chest. Because if you've ever had an idea for a financial app, for banking, payments, or investing, you're sitting on one of the biggest opportunities in tech right now. So let's get right into it and chart the course. First up, let's just talk about the sheer scale here. Over $600 billion. That's how big the global fintech market is predicted to be by 2029. That number is just staggering. It signals one of the biggest digital shifts happening in our lifetime. The opportunity is absolutely massive. But what does it really take to claim your piece of that pie?
Well, here's the thing. It's a classic high-risk, high-reward game. On one side, you've got this booming market with more than 26,000 startups already in the mix, proving there's a real path to success. But on the other side, the stakes are incredibly high. A single app can run you up to 300 grand and take a year and a half to build. So getting it right from the very start isn't just an advantage, it's everything.
And that's exactly why our first section is all about understanding the landscape. Think of it like a modern-day gold rush. Before you even think about writing a single line of code, you have to know where the gold is and what's driving everyone towards it. And what's driving it? It's this. This one stat pretty much says it all. 90%. That's how many of us are expected to be making payments on our phones this year. Finance isn't in a bank branch anymore. It literally lives in our pockets. This massive shift in behavior is the real engine behind the entire fintech explosion. Okay, so we know where this is happening. It's on mobile. That brings us right to section 2, nailing your core idea. It's not enough to just see the wave coming. You need to know exactly how you're going to surf it. And that means finding a specific problem to solve, which always starts with understanding the big trends. The first huge trend is something called embedded finance. This is all about weaving financial tools directly into apps that aren't, financial apps. Think about paying for your rideshare or getting instant financing on an e-commerce site without ever leaving that platform. It's projected to be a $7.2 trillion market by 2030. The whole point is to make finance so smooth, it's almost invisible. Next up, of course, is AI. Artificial intelligence is basically the brains behind modern fintech. It does two really critical things. First, it creates these hyper-personalized experiences, tailoring advice to your exact financial habits. And second, just as important, it's our best defense, with real-time fraud detection that spots weird patterns to keep your money safe. It's all about making fintech smarter and safer. And finally, we've got open banking. This is the glue that holds this whole new world together. It uses these secure little messengers called APIs to let different financial apps talk to each other and to the big traditional banks. It's the reason you can connect your bank account to a budgeting app or an investment platform so easily. And this isn't some far-off tech. Over 100 million Americans are already using it. So with these big trends in mind, the question really comes back to you. What specific problem are you going to solve? Are you helping people dip their toes into investing for the first time? Or maybe creating better payment options for small businesses? Remember, 75% of us prefer products that feel like they were made just for us. The best apps don't try to do everything. They solve one specific pain point and they do it exceptionally well. All right, once you've got that killer idea, it's time to actually build. But in fintech, you're not just building an app. You're building a digital fortress. It has to be strong, it has to be secure, and it has to be totally laser-focused on its mission. The key to starting strong is defining your minimum viable product, your MVP. This is a super strategic process. First, you brainstorm, you list out every single feature you could ever dream of. Then, you have to get ruthless. You prioritize them based on what gives the most bang for the buck, both for the user and for your business. And finally, you pick only the handful of features that are absolutely essential to solving that one core problem. The philosophy for a great MVP is simple. All killer, no filler. So many startups fall into this trap of feature bloat, where they just cram in dozens of half-baked functions. That makes the app confusing, a nightmare to maintain, and it just blows up your timeline and budget. The lesson here is clear. Users would much rather have an app that does a couple of things perfectly than one that does 20 things poorly. Now let's talk tech real quick. Your tech stack is the actual foundation of your fortress. For the front end, that's the part the user actually sees and touches. You have frameworks like React, which powers the slick interface on Robinhood. Then for the back end, the engine doing all the heavy lifting, Python is a huge favorite for its security, while something like Node.js is a star for real-time stuff like processing payments. This choice isn't just for the techies. It directly impacts your app's security, its speed, and whether it can grow with you.
And right here, these are the absolute 100% non-negotiables of your fortress. Compliance. This is not an afterthought. It has to be baked in from day one. You've got KYC, or Know Your Customer, to prove people are who they say they are, AML, or anti-money laundering, to stop bad guys, rules like GDPR to protect user data, and PCI DSS, the gold standard for keeping credit card info safe. Getting any one of these wrong doesn't just risk massive fines, it can destroy user trust in a second. Your app would be dead on arrival.
All right, you've built your focused, secure MVP. The fortress is standing. Now for the final, critical section. How to launch it, learn from your actual users, and of course, how to earn some revenue. Before you even think about going live, you test. And then you test some more. And look, while making sure the app works and is easy to use is crucial, security is the top priority. The stakes are just way too high. We're talking about rigorous penetration testing, sometimes called ethical hacking, where you actually pay experts to try and break into your own system. The whole idea is to find every single vulnerability before the bad guys do. So once you launch, the game completely shifts from getting new users to keeping the ones you have. And this is why that's so important. A tiny 5% increase in user retention can lead to a 25% or even bigger boost in profits. This is where you become a detective, analyzing real-world data, watching how people really use your app, and constantly tweaking it to make the experience better and keep them coming back.
And that brings us to the big one, monetization. How are you actually going to make money? Well, there are a few proven models. Subscriptions give you that nice, predictable revenue. Transaction fees are a no-brainer for payment and investment apps. You can even monetize your technology itself by letting other businesses pay to use your APIs. The real key takeaway here is that the strongest apps usually don't rely on just one thing. They build a smart mix. So there you have it. That's the roadmap for building a fintech app in 2025. We've gone from the massive opportunity all the way to the nitty-gritty of building your fortress and getting it out into the world. You have the what and you have the how. The only question left is the who and the why. Who are you going to serve? And what problem are you going to solve for them? That's your first step on this map. Thanks for watching The Explainer.